In 1580, inside a heavily guarded mansion in Kyoto, a powerful daimyo suddenly died in his sleep. No signs of violence, no wounds, no evidence. The only thing anyone remembered was a beautiful woman who had served him tea the night before. By morning, she had vanished without a trace. For 300 years, the West has believed ninja were only men in black lurking in shadows. Hollywood never told you about Kunoichi, female ninja, 10 times more dangerous. They didn't need katana. They didn't need shuriken. Their most powerful weapon was what feudal society considered most harmless: the existence of a woman. Today we will unlock the secret traditions and historical accounts to discover the truth about Kunoichi, from the philosophy of invisible in daylight to psychological warfare techniques only women could execute. This is not a story about victims in feudal society. This is a story about the most perfect strategists in history. After watching this video, you will never look at the silent women in Japanese history the same way again. Before diving into techniques, understand what the name Kunoichi truly means. This is not a mystical term as many believe. Kunoichi is written using 3 strokes of the Chinese character woman, ku, no, ichi. This was ninja code, a mnemonic to remember that woman is the essence of this warrior type. Bansenshukai doesn't call them Kunoichi, but uses the term onna no shinobi, female shinobi. This shows they were considered legitimate ninja, not a feminized version. Their core philosophy, preserved in ninja traditions, states, while men must hide in darkness, women can hide in plain daylight. The reason is simple. In Sengoku-era Japanese society, women were considered harmless, dependent, unrelated to military affairs. This very prejudice made them the perfect invisible weapon. A samurai was always vigilant with other men, but with women, he lowered his defenses. He saw them as assets to protect, not threats to guard against. Kunoichi were trained to exploit this arrogance completely. They turned weakness into strength, invisibility into the ultimate weapon. But to become such living weapons, they had to undergo a selection and training process as brutal as any male ninja. Ninja family traditions describe Kunoichi selection criteria with chilling precision. Not too beautiful to attract attention, but pleasant enough to create goodwill. They sought girls with exceptional memory, absolute emotional control, and most importantly, able to endure loneliness for many years. Many Kunoichi were recruited from orphan girls, descendants of ninja families, or women rejected by society. They had nothing to lose, only missions to live for. Traditional accounts suggest extensive training periods, with progressive skill development from childhood. First phase, ages 5 to 10. Physical conditioning and basic skills. They learned yoga-like flexibility, acrobatics, silent movement, and most importantly, how to observe and memorize every detail. Second phase, ages 10 to 15. Psychology and communication arts. They learn to read body language, detect deception, and manipulate others' emotions. Final phase, ages 15 to 20. Specialization by role. Depending on future missions, they mastered tea ceremony, dance, calligraphy, or traditional medicine. The final test was brutally simple. They had to build a genuine relationship with someone over many months, then betray them completely without hesitation. Those who passed became true kunoichi. Those who failed, the old traditions don't say where they went. But once fully trained, they became masters of an art male ninja could never achieve: perfect infiltration. Unlike male ninja, who had to infiltrate through violence or stealth, Kunoichi used yonin, the art of operating in plain sight without suspicion. Historical accounts and ninja traditions list 7 primary roles Kunoichi could assume. The most dangerous role was Miko, shrine maiden. In Japanese society, Miko were considered sacred and inviolable. No one dared suspect or search a Miko. Under the pretext of performing purification rituals, a Kunoichi Miko could move freely between castles, enter a daimyo's private chambers to conduct ceremonies, and map defensive layouts right in front of guards. The second role was shirabiyoshi, court dancer. They were invited into high-ranking residences to perform at critical banquets. While everyone was captivated by the dance, the Kunoichi was counting guards, mapping escape routes, and listening to secret political conversations. The most effective role was becoming a household servant in the target's home. This required years of patience and flawless acting. A Kunoichi could spend 5 to 7 years serving loyally, becoming the family's most trusted person, entrusted with all secrets. They heard military plans while pouring sake. They copied secret letters while cleaning. They memorized every habit, weakness, and relationship of the target. When the mission was activated, no one suspected the most loyal servant was the most dangerous enemy. But Kunoichi's true power didn't lie in infiltration ability. It lay in their mastery of psychological warfare. Kunoichi arts focused extensively on shinjutsu, the art of conquering minds. This was the domain where Kunoichi reigned absolutely. They were taught that every man carries 3 inherent weaknesses: pride, desire, and fear of betrayal. The Kunoichi's job was to identify and exploit whichever was strongest. The first technique was Kyojitsu Tenkan, the art of reversing truth and falsehood. Instead of pure fabrication, Kunoichi blended 80% truth with 20% critical lies. This created an irrefutable, credible persona. When the target investigated, 80% of information proved accurate, making him trust the remaining 20% completely. The second technique was Aijo no Jutsu, the art of false affection. This wasn't crude seduction, but creating deep emotional dependency. Kunoichi learned to listen intently, ask questions that made men feel understood, create special moments that convinced targets they'd found a soulmate. The Shadow Masters issued a cold warning. Kunoichi must be careful not to truly fall in love. Real emotion is the enemy of the mission. The third technique was Bunretsu Sakusen, division tactics. Kunoichi sowed doubt among subordinates, making them suspect each other instead of uniting. A gentle whisper, "I heard Lord A seems displeased with your decision," could destroy a powerful alliance from within. Historical accounts describe entire clans collapsing simply because a Kunoichi whispered concerns into a lord's ear every night. This is the power of poisoned words, weapons that no armor can block, no sword can parry. But when psychological warfare wasn't enough, Kunoichi still possessed physical weapons engineered specifically for women. If you're stunned by these sophisticated psychological techniques from 400 years ago, hit like and subscribe to the channel. We still have 3 final sections about secret weapons, a real historical shadow empress, and why they vanished from history books. Let's continue. When killing became necessary, Kunoichi didn't use katana or shuriken. Those weapons were too masculine, too obvious, completely incompatible with their roles. Their weapons were the everyday objects of womanhood, subtly transformed into instruments of death that aroused no suspicion. Kanzashi, the ornamental hairpin. In a Kunoichi's hands, it became a poison-tipped dagger capable of piercing ear canal or throat in an instant. Victims died without a scream. Tessen, the iron fan. It appeared to be an ordinary folding fan for dance, but its ribs were razor-sharp steel. One graceful swing could sever a carotid artery. Nikote, artificial claws. Metal talons sharp as razors, often coated with fast-acting toxins. A light scratch on skin was enough for poison to enter the bloodstream. But the most terrifying weapon wasn't metal at all. It was chemistry. In feudal households, women controlled the kitchen, the tea service, often the medicine. They controlled the supply chain of life itself. Ninja knowledge included poisons perfectly suited for Kunoichi. Some killed instantly. Others acted slowly, over days, so death appeared like natural illness. Some were colorless and tasteless, dissolving perfectly into tea. Others absorbed through skin on contact. Some only became lethal after repeated small doses. A Kunoichi could even coat her lips with poison, kiss the target, and watch him die within an hour, while she remained unharmed thanks to an antidote taken beforehand. All these weapons matched the image of a gentle woman perfectly. Always close, always caring, never truly seen. And this invisibility was exploited by one woman into perhaps the most powerful intelligence empire in Japanese history. Kunoichi didn't operate alone. They had structure, networks, leadership. The greatest of those leaders was Mochizuki Chiyome in the 16th century. Chiyome was a samurai widow, but after her husband died in battle, she was given an extraordinary mission by the legendary warlord Takeda Shingen. That mission wasn't to fight on battlefields. It was to build an intelligence network that would span all of Japan. Chiyome gathered over 300 women, orphans, widows, prostitutes, outcasts. Women society had discarded, but who possessed intelligence and iron will. Under the cover of running a Shinto shrine, she transformed them into perfect operatives, skilled in dance, tea ceremony, infiltration, and assassination. Her network functioned like a modern intelligence corporation. Any critical information, troop movements, supply routes, even the health of rival daimyo, reached Takeda within days. During Takeda's military campaigns, her intelligence network provided strategic advantages in various conflicts. Chiyome proved that a silent army of women could be more effective than thousands of armored cavalry. She wasn't just a ninja. She was the CEO of Japan's first intelligence corporation. But after Takeda Shingen's death, Chiyome's network gradually dissolved, and with it, an entire era of Kunoichi began to fade. When the Edo period brought peace in the early 17th century, male ninja were reassigned to new roles: police, firefighters, bodyguards for the shogun. But Kunoichi? They simply vanished from official records. No chronicles, no monuments, as if they had never existed. The first reason was political. The Tokugawa shogunate wanted a stable society built on strict Confucian hierarchy, where women were obedient, modest, and subordinate. The idea of powerful, independent, lethal women operating in shadows directly contradicted this new social order. The second reason was cultural. Samurai were glorified for open, honorable combat. Ninja were despised for operating in secrecy. Kunoichi were considered even worse, using seduction, emotional manipulation, and feminine weapons. To elite male chroniclers, this was dishonor squared. Edo period historians, almost all men, deliberately omitted Kunoichi. They refused to admit that great samurai lords could be outmaneuvered by women. Even the secret manuals that mentioned these shadow arts were kept hidden within certain lineages and never widely circulated. Only in the 20th century, when scholars began re-examining ancient ninja manuals, did the truth about Kunoichi slowly re-emerge. Today, we know that Kunoichi were not victims or tools. They were complete warriors and brilliant strategists who shaped Japanese history from the shadows. The Kunoichi are not the romanticized figures created by modern media. They are living proof that true power lies not in muscle, but in intellect and adaptation. From the philosophy of invisible in daylight to the mastery of psychological warfare, from perfectly disguised weapons to continent-spanning spy networks, Kunoichi proved that women could excel in arenas history claimed were reserved for men. They didn't need brute strength to win. They used everything society called weakness, gentleness, empathy, patience, and transformed it into the most devastating arsenal. Perhaps that's exactly why history tried to erase them, because they proved that gender norms are illusions, and true power often comes from the places we least expect. The next time you see an image of a Japanese woman in kimono pouring tea with a gentle smile, remember, 400 years ago, that smile might have been the last thing a mighty samurai ever saw. If this video has changed how you see women's roles in history, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. In the next video of our Bansenshukai series, we'll explore In-Nin, the science of invisibility. How ninja used pure mathematics and physics to vanish before their enemies' eyes. See you in the shadows.